have a seat. So this is what I need you to do. Just take out a pencil, remove everything from your desk, and we're going to get started. Alright, so our Unit 6 essential question is, based on the cultural, political, and economic and societal events, evaluate, right? So we're evaluating whether or not the 1920s were truly roaring. But we evaluate. What does that mean? Evaluate. Go ahead, give me one.
To weigh whether the pros outweigh the cons.
Good, if the pros outweigh the cons. So we are going to figure out today, does the pros outweigh the cons based on everything we learned? So, here's what we are going to do. As you know, your project starts midweek. You are going to evaluate whether or not the 1920s were truly roaring, wild, exciting, fun, then create a digital poster or newspaper within your groups. In this project, you have the option of renaming the decade, right? Renaming every lesson that we just did and selecting a new title that best represents your reasoning. Or you can pick from the options that I came up with. But I know you guys are smarter than me, so you'll pick up great, you'll have great little titles. Alright, so as a unit overview, you'll be participating in the gallery walk, right? And we'll be evaluating whether or not the 1920s were truly roaring based on all the events that we learned. So the objectives, can someone read the first one for me? Tajay.
Evaluate whether or not the 1920s were truly roaring.
Okay, evaluate, weigh the pros and cons. Can someone else read this right over here? Jose, speak up.
Analyze and interpret primary sources, documents, including photographs and excerpts from the 1920s.
Good job. You're going to be looking at different primary source documents and interpreting them. Richard, read the next one for me.
Describe and discuss the positive and negative aspects of the 1920s.
Good. At the end, we're going to be describing and discussing the positive and negative aspects. While you are doing this, I hate when you copy, right? So I want you to summarize. Can someone read this last objective? Alani.
Summarize their understanding through daily tickets, processing, activities, or evidence.
Good job. And then last but not least, most importantly, Ashik.
Speak publicly amongst your peers.
Good job. Speak clear, concise, and right to the point with your peers. So here's your gallery walk. As I said, you'll participate in the gallery walk, examining primary sources. As you walk around the room, you are going to move counterclockwise. So from station 1, you go into station 2. Station 2, you go into 3. 3, you go into 4, and etc. Right? As you walk around the room, please pull your graphic organizers out of the box. On your graphic organizers, you are going to do two things. Describe what you see in the image, and answer a document-based question. The question is at the end of the placard. I want you to work together, and I will be coming around. You have about, listen, your requirement, there's about 2 or 3. I want you definitely to complete 1 and challenge yourself and try to complete 2.
He kind of looks like he got beat up, or he's like kind of out of it because he got the star.
Let me see. All right, so what are you guys discussing? What do you see in this image?
Well, I was saying that this guy, he has American labor
Yep.
on whatever he's wearing,
Yep.
and then this guy kind of looks like he got beat up or something happened to him. He's kind of poor.
And what does he have? What label does he have?
A foreign extremist.
And what do we know about Americans during this time frame? How did we feel about foreigners?
Not
They was
good.
gonna take over what they
Thank
worked
you.
for.
Good. Say it one more time, nice and loud.
They thought they was gonna take over what they worked for.
Okay, so when something is patriotic, it's what? When you're patriotic, you're red, white, and blue, you're full of what?
Like, I don't. It's like kind of like if you're full of hope and
Yeah, you're full of hope, you're full of freedom, you're full of liberty, right? So how do you think, based on his facial expression, he feels about this guy?
mad. Like he looked like he's grinning at him.
Okay, so what does that tell you when we look at our question? According to the cartoonist, how do patriotic Americans feel about foreigners?
They're taking their freedom and everything.
Well, close. They're taking their freedom, but when they came into our countries, why were they afraid of them?
Because they were gonna take all the jobs. And
Yes, and
all the
one, they
money.
would take up all the jobs and all the money as well, right? And then what did we learn about the Red Scare? Can anybody recall that? The Red Scare, when foreigners came in, what did they try to influence? It's the big white, it's an institution. Take a guess, it's okay. President Barack Obama works there.
The White House.
And what does the White House represent?
Government.
The government, exactly. So now figure out, according to the cartoonist, how do patriotic Americans feel about foreigners?
I don't like them.
Yes, they don't like them because they would try to take over what?
The government.
Okay, the government. And what do we call that? It started with the color of your pen, the red.
Red Scare.
Perfect. Good job, guys. I want you to think about how this ties back to our central question. So now that women have the ability to vote, how did they express themselves? It's all right, think about
They
it.
did things that they wanted to do themselves.
Yeah, they did things that they wanted to do themselves. Good, like what? How did they express themselves in fashion?
Wore short skirts.
Yeah, they wore short skirts. How did their hair look? How did their hair look? Good, they had short hair as well. How do they feel about prohibition? Does anybody remember what prohibition is? I'll give you a clue, look.
Oh, the alcohol.
Yes, how did they feel about it?
They didn't like it
Why?
because when the men used to drink, they would get drunk and they would beat on the women.
So what did women do in the 1920s?
They
Yes,
Yeah,
they protested it. Perfect. Thank you. Now into those questions. You are the decision makers. You have to figure out. Please use claim, evidence, and reasoning. Make your claim. Give your evidence, right? And make sure you have your reasoning. Make sure you have your reasoning.